A Ronin accepts the path with full awareness that it may end in sacrifice. And from that acceptance comes a stillness that cannot be broken. To fight until the end is not driven by desperation or blind aggression, but by a quiet surrender made long before conflicts appear. Better that than dishonor. In this way, struggle is tempered into meaning. Fear thins into endurance, and commitment stays where hope once lingered. And staying firm without attachment to survival, the Ronin finds freedom. Because once the end is welcomed, each breath is carried forward with sharpened presence and unclouded purpose. Junto, Big Bang Nakatani, moves up a weight division with a singular purpose: to prove he belongs in the same conversation as Naoya Inoue. To test that claim, he steps in against Sebastian Hernandez, a devastating puncher who has stopped 18 of his 21 opponents. The intent behind the matchup is unmistakable. Size, style, and raw power combined to create a deliberate crucible. If Nakatani truly plans to stand across the ring from the monster, there is no more fitting trial by fire. Sebastian Hernandez Reyes is rooted in the Mexican-style boxing, forward aggression, ruthless intent, and raw power. He is a pressure-based puncher whose primary objective is to impose danger and force opponents into uncomfortable exchanges. His offense is designed to disrupt rhythm and confidence, turning the fight into a test of durability and nerve rather than a measured tactical contest. His pressure is functional, but not subtle, relying more on imposing his will with the threat of power rather than on sophisticated footwork or ring-cutting mechanics. Defensively, Hernandez is willing to accept risk, often sacrificing positioning and guard discipline to maintain offensive momentum. Hernandez is a less technical riddle, but rather the main test of composure, defense, and respect for his punching power. Junto Nakatani is a modern boxer puncher, a stylist who blends reach, intelligence, and adaptability with a cold, surgical finishing touch. He is not relying on raw power alone. Instead, he wins by steadily removing options until stoppage becomes inevitable. His style is built around distance control and timing, using his height, reach, and southpaw stance to dismantle opponents systematically while punishing them with his power. What separates him from technical fighters is his finishing instinct. When he senses vulnerability, his attacks become decisive. His knockout power comes less from raw force and more from timing, leverage, and accuracy. Nakatani relies heavily on range management. He trusts his feet and positioning, prefers to stay just outside of range, where he's able to fully leverage his power.
God bless.
The feat approaches every warrior. Bushidō measures not how you strike when winning, but how you stand when the ground gives away. Although an inch shorter, Nakatani held a 3.5-inch reach advantage over Hernandez, and he built his entire approach around maximizing it.
Just taking the field on his escape routes as often as possible.
Yeah, I think Sebastian Hernandez wants to be...
His left hand right down the middle again there from Nakatani.
He fights long by design, using a bladed stance with a wider base to stretch the ring. His lead shoulder stays close to the target, where the rear stays fully coiled, allowing maximum rotational leverage.
Of the back. The guard of Hernandez, when he had no right to be able to, very men still having a look, keeping those hands nice and high. He needs to be careful there. There is absolute...
The lead hand serves as both a rangefinder and a guide, lining up the rear hand for full, clean impact.
Get Hernandez to overreach. He knows if he really puts the weight behind, a tiny little bit where he's off balance, you'll grow from that.
Hernandez, meanwhile, leaned into a compact stance with a tight guard, which only magnified the reach disparity. His style is not meant to flourish at long range. It is built to endure contact, apply pressure, and force the fight from the outside into the mid-range and inside, where he can impose physical damage and chaos. This approach is not designed to look pretty. It is designed to wreak havoc.
The last two camps, they've talked about wanting... That does open opportunities for the opponent, so he's very economical, doesn't waste.
Hernandez proved to be iron. Shots that would normally help most fighters barely disrupted his forward momentum.
Of course, we know that Nakatani is the one making his debut at 100.
Hernandez starting to get a little busier here on the inside.
Though only the opening round, the warning signs emerged for Nakatani. Volume would become the deciding factor. If raw power cannot slow Hernandez, the sustained activity would be required. Consistent jabbing, constant repositioning, and disciplined movement to preserve space and keep the fight where Nakatani held the advantage.
Hernandez walking forward, there to be hit, vulnerable, but this is better. Promising pounds and think, man, I'm happy he's not.
As the rounds wore on, and Hernandez steadily claimed more ground, Nakatani found himself doing more than fending off pressure from the outside. He was increasingly forced into exchanges on the inside, a revealing moment as he felt the physical strength of a naturally bigger man competing in a higher division.
Mano on the inside. More intent from Hernandez, and he needs to. It's there. Nice uppercut from Hernandez. And the corner, good shot again from Hernandez.
While the Mauler was difficult to deter, he was never difficult to find. When Nakatani managed to reclaim space, the solution revealed itself in its backstep. Hernandez followed blindly, and that single pull created the precise pocket Nakatani needed. From there, he could draw Hernandez in and unload the lethal left hand.
Sides for him, something to build on, but the boxing's been classed. Look at that, I mean, that is shades up.
Turning forward pressure into a moment of calculated strikes.
Greer is still a Nakatani round, able to defend with such ease. Look at that, that's beautiful.
This dynamic underscored a key contrast. Hernandez's persistence versus Nakatani's precision, with space and the ability to manufacture it, becoming the decisive battleground.
That's a good point there, because you have her uppercut in what has been an uppercut party for Junto Nakatani.
The contest unfolded like a patient hunt, the Mauler claiming ground as predators do, slowly, deliberately, aware that time was his sharpest weapon. The defender was challenged to prove that defense was more than the act of repelling blows. It is the discipline of enduring pressure without surrender.
This is what fights of the year look like.
Freeway world champion. Now this is fantastic. He just won.
You see, the line is only as strong as one's ability to hold it. Nakatani began with authority, setting the tempo early, but the pace steadily intensified. By the early stages of the second half of the fight, Hernandez started to breach that line, inch by inch, turning containment into confrontation.
Every single day before that fight with Martinez I had, I see.
Knowing how to jab and move is the accessible lesson. Sustaining it is the real test. As the legs begin to wander and the rhythm thinned, the Mauler closed the distance.
Ani inviting this inside work. Hernandez doing some trying to find a little space here. Crank those uppercuts, but Hernandez.
And once the teeth sank in, separation became difficult and escape even more so.
And then Sebastian, who's just not, do not throw this away. Junto, do your part here.
Though Hernandez's defense was static, it remained functional because the durability was exceptional, absorbing every shot to earn entry. The moment he stepped into range, the fight transformed into a firefight of exchanges. Every offensive burst from Nakatani carried equal risk, as Hernandez was always positioned to answer back.
And he's doing well, Corey.
Touched with a nice left hook there by Hernandez. Still.
Success on the inside was defined by Hernandez's compact stance. Rather than looping wide hooks like many brawlers do, he kept his punches short and efficient, firing directly from his base. This economy of motion sacrificed some power to afford him to unload quick, successive combinations, turning proximity into advantage and pressure into mounting damage.
Tony, who has actually at the start of this 9th round.
Bases. This is Hernandez and his persistence is making it happen, but Nakatani also has.
A hard hit nullifies counters. With pressure already driving Nakatani back, his backstep counters lost even more leverage, stripped of their foundation by the incoming fire.
2 attributes, language a lot as well, and you really feed off of how you're feeling.
Hernandez exploited these moments by punching between Nakatani's punches, give and take, tick for tack, punch for punch, till the last man stands. This became a major problem. Not only did Nakatani's power show no lasting effect, but Hernandez consistently took his best shots and continued firing before Nakatani could even disengage.
At the previous round.
I mean, terrific, again, approach to...
Pressure erased structure, and without structure, power was no longer the equalizer. At the turning point, the narrative held true. Fending off the Mauler required skill, but enduring his bite demanded stamina, structure, and tenacity. And it was in the endurance that the fight found its crossroads.
Shots Hernandez, good pressure. I feel favourite than Anthony Joshua was over Jake Paul.
That's right. Much bigger.
Dreamt he would have to, as I say.
In a hard-fought bout that went to the scorecards, all three judges awarded the decision to Nakatani, 115-113, 115-113, and a highly controversial 118-110 that failed to reflect the realities of the fight. That final score, in particular, stood in stark contrast to the competitive nature of the bout. Predictably, the result fractured opinion. One side viewed it as a narrow but fair win for Nakatani, the other labeled it a clear robbery. In close fights like these, especially those involving an established champion like Nakatani, anything short of a knockout or unmistakable dominance tends to magnify perception. Hernandez controlled the volume, throwing 921 total punches to Nakatani's 837. Meanwhile, Nakatani's trademark power for once appeared to have minimal visible effect, though he did lay in the cleanest shots, connecting on 47% of his power punches. Personally, a draw would have been an acceptable outcome. Boxing politics cannot be ignored, particularly with a major event looming on the horizon. While Hernandez leaves with the first loss of his career, his stock rises dramatically. He now positions himself for high-profile matches in the division. For the first time, Nakatani looked human, no longer an inevitability, but a man operating within limits. The version of Hernandez that emerged will give hell to anyone in the division. The shine on a potential mega fight with Inoue may have diluted slightly, yet Nakatani revealed something just as valuable: durability, grit, and the will to endure when dominance is no longer available. In the end, the fight served as a quiet reminder of boxing's oldest truth: victory is not absolute, greatness is contextual, and styles will always make fights.
Tani!